And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I'm live with Sugar Bear Barbieri. What's up, Sugar Bear?
That's Albert Sugar Bear Barbieri to you.
Albert Sugar Bear Barbieri. And Little Snuff was live tonight, and he even said your phrase that you say in the beginning of the number 1 in the scorecard, 32 in the scorecard, number 1 in your heart.
That's a violation. That's a violation.
Nah, my bad.
That's a violation.
I'm not from Philly, man.
Well, come on, bro. Number 8 in your scorecard, number 1 in your heart.
That's right.
Sugar
I know.
Bear Barbieri.
I've seen it so many times, too. Number 8 in your scorecard.
Number 1 in your heart.
Yeah. I know it says it every time one of our interviews plays.
So they were on there. They had a little live, little Skinny and Snuff.
Yeah, and I put your name in the chat, and they gave you a shout out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I'll give them a shout out. Joey Merlino and Joe Perry Jr. Yeah, I know I know Snuff's dad a long time, and of course Joey a long time. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yes, they are.
So you have a lot of stories, man, and I wanted to get into a couple of them. There's a couple I want to get into today. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Claudio, Dirty Dignity.
Which classic story did you come across?
The Ray Liotta story.
No.
You showed up to his house unannounced or something like that?
I did. That's boy, oh boy, it's a classic, and it's something I'll never forget. And it was in the day and age of no cell phone, where I wish iPhones were around then. But yeah, it was 1993. I went back to LA for my second tour of duty. I was there in 86 to 89. I went back in 1993 because I just missed LA. I just felt I wanted to move back. And my previous roommate, who I became friends with from the Anchorage Glacier pilot team I played on in 1984, he was the traveling secretary. My buddy Hugh Grooms from Seattle, Washington. He was already living in Southern California in 1986, and I lived with him and another buddy from 86 to 89, but I always had one of his screenplays. Hugh Groom is a very talented graphic guy. He's got a few Emmys in graphics, television, and he was an aspiring musician and screenwriter. And when I left in 89 to go back home, I had this screenplay of his and I kept it. And when I went back in 1993, I was living in Marina Del Rey and I was bored, nothing to do. I was figuring out what I was going to do. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write a screenplay. Now, I had no computer. I was going to write it on legal pad paper, the big ones.
Yeah.
And I put his script right next to the legal pad paper, and I followed his format.
Yeah, you just used it as a model, kind of.
Yeah, I just followed his interior, exterior, fade outs, all the things that he did, and I just did my dialogue. And with pencil. And it took me probably a month. And I remember having 3 long legal pad pages full of the screenplay. So when I got it done, when I was there in LA in 1986 to 89, I got to be friendly with Tony Danza's camp, only because a dear friend of mine from South Philly, Carmen La Rosa, his mom Gilda La Rosa, God rest her soul, she's passed. But they're my friends from South Philly. That's another story. She got to be friends with Tony Danza only by a freak phone call. She called a telethon, and she got the publicist answered the phone during this telethon down the shore, I believe, and she told the published that she's not going to give a pledge unless she talks to Tony. Tony wasn't there, and the publicist gave Gilda the phone number to the office, Tony in LA. So one day, Gilda calls for Tony, and it was a freaky thing that Tony's secretary was named Gilda, and there was a mix-up about a message that Tony got saying Gilda called, and when it was Tony Danza returned a phone call, he thought he was talking to his secretary, and he was talking to Gilda for 10, 15 minutes. He didn't know, he thought he was talking to Gilda, and a relationship started with Jill. So when I moved back to Southern California in 86, she said, Albert, I'm going to get you in. I'm going to get you to meet Tony Danza and his crew. I'm friendly with Frank Lieberman, his publicist. So she sends me a box, big box stuff to bring to Frank Lieberman. So I call him when I get to LA in November or so in 86. I call him up. I tell him who I am. I'm friends with Jill. He was very nice over the phone. I tell him I have a box that Gilda sent to me that she wants me to bring to Frank. So Frank Lieberman, the publicist, invites me down to Gower Studios in Hollywood, where they taped Who's the Boss. So This is how my in comes. I'm getting to it. So
Tony Danza's from Philly, right?
No, Tony Danza's New York. He's from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tony Danza's New York guy. And I already created a relationship with Frank Lieberman, his publicist, Tony Danza a little bit. They invited me down to Gower Studios every Friday night. It was one of my days off. I go down and watch the taping of Who's the Boss. So now in 93, when I go back, I'm still in touch with Frank Lieberman. And I call him up, and Tony at the time is done with Who's the Boss. He's got a production company called Katie Face Production. And I tell Frank, I said, Frank, I wrote a screenplay. Can I bring it to you maybe you take a look at it and tell me what you think? So he says, yeah. So we set up a meet. I go down to Gower Studios where Tony had an office, and I bring it to Frank. Frank reads it. He has it for about a month. And after about a month goes by, he says, we meet for lunch. He goes, Al, listen, I read this. There's something to this, but can you put it into screenplay format? Well, I'm like, okay. So I get in touch with my friend Hugh Grew. He's living up in Oakland, California. And we start. I do the writing. I bring him on to clean up the screenplay, dot the I's, cross the T's.
He types it out for you?
Well, I would mail him. I would mail him so much. He would on his computer, send it back. Oh yeah. It took it was a process.
What was the screenplay about?
The screenplay was how can I say this? It used baseball as a metaphor, but it wasn't a baseball story. It used baseball as a metaphor. I don't want to give too much away because I still have the screenplay, and it got rewritten 6-7 times, and this is where I get to the part of going to Ray Liotta's house. But so Frank reads it, tells me to put in screenplay. He goes, listen, put it in screenplay form, and I'll give it to Tony. Tony just came off a movie called Angels in the Outfield.
I remember it.
Yeah, and Tony he gives it to Tony. Tony reads it. He turns it away. He didn't think he wasn't interested. And Frank says to me, Al, you got to get yourself a literary agent. And I said, Frank, how do I get a literary agent? How? It's just like the actors. How do you get a SAG card if you don't have a speaking part? You know what I mean? So he goes, Al, I know, but you just got to get a literary agent. Send out something to literary agents and see if they bite. I said, okay. But my thought was, you know what? Fuck that. I'll just go knock on doors of movie stars' homes. I don't give a fuck. Right? You need something done, you do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I had a couple buddies of mine that were prop masters on films. And I was at the lunch with them one day, and one kid, they're talking about locations, who's doing what commercial, who's doing what film. And that's how I got the idea, because I'm going a little too fast, but what happened was, for the Ray Liotta address, being a guy that worked at voter registration in Philly in my late teens, early 20s, I knew, and when I wrote the screenplay, I thought Ray Liotta would be perfect for this part, for the lead part. And I went to the voter registration in Norwalk, California. It's somewhere southeast of LA. And I found Ray Liotta's address. It's in North
Now,
Hollywood.
he's already been in Goodfellas and all that.
Yeah,
right?
this is 1994. Yep, he's established. He's a movie star. So I said, well, I'm just going to go to his house. So I'm going for 2 weeks straight. I'm parked outside his house. It's in a residential area. It's a modest home. You can walk right up to, no gate, grass lawn. I go there. There's no signs of life for about 2 weeks. I put a couple hours, a stakeout, like a stakeout, a couple hours a day in North Hollywood, right down the few streets from Burbank Studios. So one day, it's a little dusk, and I was hungry. I take a ride to go get some gas in my car, get a bite to eat, and when I come back, well, first of all, I'm watching the Jay Leno show during this whole time of the 2 weeks that I'm staking him out. I would always watch Jay Leno at night. And he mentions who his next week's guests are going to be. And he says Ray Liotta. And I go, oh my God, well, I got to run into him now. So when I'm staking out in front of his house, this one night, late in the afternoon, I go get something to eat. I come back, and for the first time, I see signs of life. Sprinkler, lights on. Oh, I walk up to the door. No screenplay in hand. Knock on the door. I hear his voice. I know it's him. Who is it? What am I going to say to Ray Liotta? Who is it? Yeah, it's Al. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, Ray, you don't know me. I don't know you. But I'm a writer and I have a screenplay. The moment he hears that from me, he's talking to me through the door. And, okay, he's talking to me. Listen, I don't do this at my house. Please go away. And I'm like, well, and I start, well, Ray, listen, please. And he's persistent about it. And I got to get off the step once he tells me. And he says, go through my agent. And I already tried going through his agent. And I said, I tried going through your agent, Nick. His name was Nick Reseda or something like that. Reseda, his name. Well, I'm sorry. I don't do it. Please leave. So I leave. I got to get off. I got to get off his property. I walk to my car. I get a piece of paper and pencil, and I write a note. And the note says, listen, Ray, I'm friends with Frank Lieberman, Tony Danza. You can contact them. This is all in the up and up. And I write the number, because Frank Lieberman always gave me carte blanche to use his name.
Yeah, you can't go around Hollywood using other people's names without their permission. They'll freak out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Frank, I know. So I go to a payphone. I call Frank Lieberman up. I got to warn him. I got to tell him, Frank, listen, Frank, it's Al. Yeah, buddy. I said, you ain't going to believe this. I said, but I just came from Ray Liotta's house. He went, what? I said, yeah, I just came from Ray Liotta's house. And he didn't answer the door, but I talked him through the door. I tried to get him to answer the door so I can give him my screenplay. I said, you know, I've been knocking on doors. I can't get a literary agent. He started laughing. I said, Frank, you do me a favor. Can you call his agent, call Ray's agent, and can you vouch for me? Tell the agent, the guy that was at Ray's door today is a cool and never. And he goes, okay, I'll do that. So for about a week, I would call Frank every night to find out if he got in touch with the agent, and the agent never got back to Frank. I got to believe Frank called him. Frank loved me. I don't think he would say that and not do it. So week goes by, 10 days go by. I want to go to Penny Marshall's house. Okay, I know where she lives, up Outpost Drive. I got her address, but it's a beautiful sunny day. I said, fuck it. I'm going without permission now. I go back to Ray Liotta's house. Again, second time.
Is there light? There's signs of life.
It's daytime. It's daytime. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's daytime. He opens the door. He comes out, white sweatpants, white t-shirt, a mess, hair messed up, barefoot. And he gets right in my face. Now, wait a minute. I want to say something. When I put the note in Ray Liotta's mailbox, the mailbox was right next to the door. There was a slot. He put them, you know, the mailboxes, you could just put the slot right into this mailbox. And he watched me through the little window next to his door, put that note that I wrote to say, call Frank Lieberman or Tony Danza. When he opens the door and comes out, he comes right up to my face, and it went just like this. I'll never forget it. What the fuck did I tell you? Didn't I fucking tell you don't come to my fucking house? Didn't I fucking tell you my family is here, my family's here? This, and he's giving me the riot act. And inside, I'm fucking just bursting because I'm in front of a movie star. And he's fucking giving it to me. And let me tell you something. Any other wise guy, kid, tough guy, may have lost his cool. You know what I mean? What he was saying to me.
Getting abused from.
Yeah, no, like I'm on his property. I have no right, but still he's motherfucking me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck. I know this is another movie. So I wait for him to calm down. And all of a sudden, I'm waiting for the right time. Yo, Ray, take it easy, man. I said, come on. I said, I gave you the note. I told you I'm friendly with Frank Lieberman, Tony Danza. I put in the note to call him. Everything's on the up and up, right? So I said, come on, Ray. You were once in my shoes, just like that. And I got him. When I said that, I got him. Because he took it like he realized it was a reality check. He was once in my shoes. I don't have permission to be on his property, but I did write a note and I did tell him everything's cool. He takes a breath. He steps back. And for the first time, he's going to say my name. All right, Al. Go get your screenplay like that. Go get it. My car's on the curb. But when he says it like that, I think he's just trying to get me off the
get you off the fucking board so he can slam the door.
But no, I say to him, and if I could be strapped up on a polygraph to tell you this is the God's honest truth. I'm no Gianni Russo. I said to him the exact words. I looked him dead in the eye. Ray, I don't think I want to give it to you with that attitude. He looked at me like I'm some fucking nut. He goes, listen, Al, calm down. Calm down. Now he really comes down. Listen to me. Go get your screenplay. Come back. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it. Look at this. I walk to my car. I get the screenplay. I go on his porch. He's got a nice little bench, 2-seater. He takes the screenplay. He's sitting right next to me. He's flipping pages. He says, okay, tell me about it. I tell him about it. I tell him a first-time writer, the whole thing. So he says to me, okay, He says, I'll read it. I said, Ray, you got to promise me one thing. He looks at me. This fucking kid's got, boy, he's looking at me like this fucking guy's nuts. What? He goes to me, what now? I said, Ray, you got to promise me that you read it, not hand it off to the girl in the office or your manager. He says to me, oh, this is stuff I'll never forget the rest of my life. He says to me, okay, listen, I promise you I will read it, but I can't tell you when I'm going to read it or how long it's going to take me to read it. But I promise you I will read it. I put out my hand and I said, Ray, I got all my life. Thank you. I shook his hand. I apologized for coming to his house unannounced. And I leave. The next morning, I get a phone call. I answer the phone. Can I speak to Al Barbieri? I said, yeah, this is him. Who's calling? Is this Al who went to Ray Liotta's house yesterday? I said, yeah, this is he. He says, this is Ray Liotta's manager. Ray ain't reading nothing until you come up here and sign a waiver, because my screenplay was unsolicited material. Yeah. And they have to be protected, because I would love for somebody to steal my screenplay. You understand? So they need to be protected. So I said, okay, give me your address. I'll be there with bells on. I go up there, I sign, give permission to read it. It's unsolicited material. So time goes by, 6, 7 months or whatever. I get something in the mail. I still have the letter from the managing company or something telling me the next time enclosed. They said this. No, they didn't send a screenplay back. Just a letter saying, thanks for your consideration. Ray is not interested. The next time you have something, please forward it to our office, And that was the end of that. But then about 6 months after that, I'm living like 4 miles from the Bicycle Casino and the Commerce Casino in LA. And I would go there. That's where I would play my poker. And I hear a buddy of mine say, yo, Al, Ray Liotta's over there playing poker. Oh, really? So I go over there. He's playing poker. I go up behind him. I tap him on his shoulder. When he turns, he's lit. I mean, the fucking guy's lit. He looks back like this. Yeah. I went, yeah. Ray, you don't remember me? He says, should I? I said, of course you should. I'm Al. I'm the guy that came to your house with the screenplay. With that silly laugh, he goes, you're going, kid, that was good. You're good. How you doing with the screenplay? He says to me. I said, Ray, I'm on my 5th or 6th rewrite. He goes, stay with it. You never know. You might get lucky.
Wow, so, that's crazy that you even did all that.
Yeah. And, when I was still living in Southern California in January or February of 22, I found out where Ray lived, and he lived in Pacific Palisades. And I did a live video on my Facebook page, and it wound up being taken down. This is before he died. He died in June of 22. This was January, February. I went to his house in Pacific Palisades because I was so fascinated by what happened with us back in 94. I wanted to see his reaction. What's that? 94.
If you did it again.
28 years later, I just want to say hello to him. I apologize maybe again and thank him again. I just wanted to see his reaction. It would be a great video too. Okay. So now it's it's 2022. I got so I find the house. I walk. I don't go on his property.
It's live, James.
There's a housekeeping was there, and she's on the deck, and she said, yeah, she confirmed that was Ray's house, but he wasn't home. And I said, is it okay if I leave a note? Because I'm going to leave a note again. She goes, yeah, that's okay. I said, okay, I'll leave it right by the gate. It was a little gate. I mean, it was not a fortress. It was a beautiful home, but not a fortress.
Yeah.
I'm videoing this on live Facebook. I write the note, and I'm telling him, Ray, I was in the neighborhood. I'm sure you remember me back in 1994 when I came to your house, and I write a little note. I was in the neighborhood. I just wanted to stop by and say hello, and I'm writing it on the top of my trunk of my car. And don't you know, a car pulls up. It's a woman. She pulls in the driveway, half in the driveway, half on the street. I recognized her because I looked on Google. I Googled and everything. I know what his fiance looked like, and it was her. And she's about maybe 20 feet away from me. She rolls down the window. Now, I got to believe maybe the house people, the keepers, called her and said, some guy's here. He's there, because it was ironic. Here she comes like 5 minutes after I talked to the housekeeping people, and I'm right. She rolls down the window. I say, are you Ray's fiance? She went, yeah. Now, her body language was nice. And I tell her, I say, I come in peace. I said, can I approach? She went, yeah. I come right to her door of her car. She got the window down. I say, and I tell her, I tell her in such a way that I met your fiance back in '94 when he lived in North Hollywood. We got in a little altercation on his dress. We were about a screenplay. I just wanted to come by and see if I can say hello, this and that. I wrote this note. I was about to put it at the front door there at the gate. I said, would you be so kind to give it to him? But when I was telling her the story, she's looking at me like, what? That really happened? You did that? I said, yeah. He'll remember. He has to remember. Would you give him this note? She goes, okay. I gave her the note. I get in my car. As I pull out, I look at my rearview mirror. She's looking. I wave. She waves, and I take off. And I got word from Facebook that they were taking down my video because I never showed the address, but the house was shown. But, that was I tried 28 years later to run into him. And, but,
he passed away in May.
Passed away. Was it June? Was it May or June?
May 26th of 2022.
Yeah, I was there at his house. I'll never forget it. February 15th. And that's my Ray Liotta story. And it's it was just nuts. It was just nuts. And it was, when I look back.
He died from respiratory failure, heart attack.
But, yeah. So, yeah, when I looked at him and said, Ray, I don't think I want to give it to you with that attitude. That was the highlight of my He looked at me like, this fucking guy's nuts. Because he said it with such a tone or demeanor, like, let me get this fucking kid off my pride. Go get your screenplay. Get the fuck, But no, he was, cool and made me sit down with him.
Do you think he really read it?
Listen, I got an answer from the agent or the manager telling me thanks for, and it was months later. What are you going to do? I would hope he read it, but it was shit. At the time, it wasn't good. The story was nice, but it was terrible writing. So that was my first time, and I know it was garbage because after the fifth or sixth rewrite, I knew coming that far from rewrites that when I gave it to him, it really wasn't that great of writing. And I got to grow myself as a writer. As I started rewriting, I started to get better. And I'll tell you something. I shot that screenplay in Hollywood. And what's funny about the screenplay is it had a little bit taste of something in my life story with baseball. And this is 1994. And I wrote something in that movie about Ray Liotta's character. Ray Liotta was the lead character in that film I wrote. And there was the second lead was this high school kid's mentor in his 40s or early 50s. And I used the part in my life about going to Alaska because Ray Liotta's character was going to take this high school kid to Alaska because he had some high school issues and everything. But I write this about how Ray Liotta, the lead character, takes the kid to make a team in the Alaska League, which I really did in true life.
Yeah.
Well, don't you know that all comes to fruition in 2003 with me making my minor league pro debut and going back to Alaska League in 2001. I had to rewrite the ending of that story. It was so bizarre and freaky that here I'm writing a screenplay in 1994, 95, 96, 97, and it comes.
It's art imitating life, life imitating art, right?
Yes, and it was freaky how that happened. And I almost had Mark Rosenthal, one of the original creators who wrote Superman, come on board with me to rewrite it. And I'll never forget talking to him. I got a buddy hooked me up with him, and he was telling me about rewriting it. And again, I'm a baby writer. And I say to Mark, after he's trying to tell me about rewriting, it's going in more. I can't understand. He said, and I say, Mark, listen, why don't you just come on board with me, rewrite it with me, and take a piece of the pie? And he was like, well, you know, Al, let me get back to you. And what happened was, I'm like, wow, he's thinking about it.
If you had someone like that with a huge name attached to it, it'd be huge.
Yes, absolutely. He comes back with me about a month later, a few weeks later, and I remember him telling me, he goes, Al, this is the deal. I would consider writing it with you, but I can't. I'm under contract with my studio. I got to write so many screenplays a year. I just don't have the time to do it again. And there was a few other times I got close. And it's a tough gig in Hollywood. And I didn't have a literary agent. I did get lucky in 95 to get a literary agent because I mailed out some literature to tell about my story and screenplay. And that was perfect for me just because having him as attached to my screenplay as literary agent, now it gave me full access to bring it to people without being unsolicited material. I shopped the screenplay more than my agent did. But I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that. I really didn't mind that because
was there a lot of people in Hollywood shopping screenplays all over the place, right?
Well, I don't know people knocking on doors, but
probably not knocking on people's doors.
I mean, after that, I went to Kurt Russell's house. They opened his fortress gate to let me in, and then I went to Andy Garcia's estate. I talked to him through freaking his intercom, and I bring it to his agent. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What happened with Kurt Russell's house?
Kurt Russell, him too. Now I find out about where he lives is because I said to you, I was with some friends at lunch one day, and one kid's telling his other buddy, I'm with the prop masters, they're all in the film business, and he tells me they did a commercial right down the street from, they were doing it right down the street from Michael Keaton's house, but up the street was Kurt Russell, and I said, where? And he told me the street. I know the street. I'll never forget the street. So I went. I ring the bell. He's got a fortress, big estate. I ring the bell, and the intercom and camera's right on me. And I know my body language has to be nice, friendly. And I get a woman answer the intercom. Who is it? And it was a woman with an accent, Spanish accent. Who is it? Again, who is it? What am I going to say? Who is it? I go, is Kurt home? Is Kurt home? No, he's not. What can I do? Can I help you? I said, well, I have something for him. She says, hold on. Can you hold on? I said, yeah, hold on.
Was he married to Goldie Hawn, right?
Yes. This is the best part. I'm waiting. All of a sudden, there comes the big gate opening up for me. I don't believe it. They're going to let me in, stranger. Now, I know it's 1994, but look what we're dealing with this country, right? With all the nuts and this coming across the board. I could have been any nut, right?
Yeah.
The gate opens, 4 or 5 cars in the driveway. I step in. I know the camera's still on me. I step in, couple steps. Again, my body language. I want to have a friendly body language. And I go, hello, anybody there? And the screen door opens up, and I'm looking over, and I see a screen door, and I see a blonde coming out. And she's, who's there? I said, I'm over here. And I said to myself, don't tell me this is Goldie Hawn. And it was. Here comes Goldie Hawn coming around the car. And she goes, yes, what can I do for you? I walk up to her, give her a nice smile. It's never Mr. or Mrs. It's always Goldie, Kurt, Ray, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm the friend.
First name basis
Yeah,
with all of them.
yeah. It's beautiful. So I said, Goldie, I know this doesn't happen every day. I said, I have a screenplay. Now, I also heard that Kurt Russell played minor league baseball. So I knew he was a baseball guy. And I said, Goldie, I said, I have a screenplay here. I'm trying to get it read. I'm a first time writer. I said, I don't have a screenplay. I mean, I don't have a literary agent. I said, can you give it to Kurt? I said, inside is Frank Lieberman's phone number. Tony Danza's publicist. You can call him. They'll vouch for me. She goes, okay, no problem. I'll take it. Yeah, no problem. I said, thank you, and left. Now, this one, months go by, I get a phone call, and it's the same lady that answered the intercom. Is this Al? I said, yeah. She says, can you come by Kurt Russell's house and pick up the screenplay? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I go, I ring the intercom. She comes to the gate. She hands it to me in the same vanilla envelope. I don't know if they opened it because it was latched. It wasn't licked or anything. There was no note in there, no nothing. I have no clue if he read it or not. And but the Andy Garcia incident, I got a letter from him. That's a whole bizarre story too in itself. He read it. I got a letter from him telling me that basically he loved the screenplay. He thought it would be a commercial success. He even described in a letter, which I don't know, but it was a nice compliment to say it was in the vein of a Rocky movie. But anyway, he says, I'm busy trying to produce a movie. And he goes on to explain it, called The Lost City, based in Havana. I'm doing the composing, the writing. I wish I had the letter. I can read it to you. Well, don't you know, I've had many rejection letters, and they're very short and sweet. Andy Garcia writes a nice letter to me, and not only thanks me for letting him read it, he goes on to tell me why he can't read it or do it because he's busy, about a film he wants to do of his own based in Havana. We all know he's of Cuban descent. He loves his culture. Don't you? And that was 1994 or 5. The movie comes out, The Lost City, that he did. He composed it, wrote it. He wasn't bullshitting. It was a genuine letter. He didn't have to tell me that.
No.
No, the movie came out in 05, I believe. You can Google it. See if you can Google it.
So your whole time being in LA and in that part of the country, were you ever involved with other movies? Like, were you ever on any other sets, or did you ever act in anything?
Yeah, my first time there, I was doing bullshit extra work, and I was in a little sci-fi movie with Charlie Napier, Bo Swenson, and Ronnie Glass. You know who Ronnie Glass is? He was on Barnaby Miller. I don't know, you're
The
too
name.
young. It was a sitcom in the 80s.
45, man.
Yeah, well, anyway, Bo Swenson was a pretty big actor. Charlie Napier was a character actor. He was in Rambo. Remember when Rambo says, I'm coming for you, Murdoch? Charlie Napier, he was married. He was in the movie. He was in the movie Married to the Mob. He was Michelle Pfeiffer's hairdresser. He was in the Silence of the Lamb. Remember when Anthony Hopkins carves off his face to use him to make him look like the security guard when he gets out of that big cage?
Yeah.
But no, I was in a little sci-fi movie, a little part. But no, I didn't really. No, no, really.
When did you sneak in to the what was it? The Love Connection, or what was it?
I didn't sneak in. No,
it was the Love Connection, right? No, how did you get on that show?
It all happened. It was an extension of me going on the dating game show.
Yeah. So you were on some other show, and then ended up.
When I first got to LA in '86, my buddy lived close to the Man Chinese Theater, where the famous fingerprints and footprints are.
Yeah.
We went down there one day, and the people from the shows, sitcoms, soap operas, and the game shows, they need people in the audience. So they got to recruit people down there. People who are in town visiting. And this guy comes up to me, and I misunderstood him. I think he wants me to be in the audience for this game show. So after I realized he's trying to recruit me to go in the all-new dating game, in 1986 it started. The host was Elaine Joyce. If you remember, you're too young, but the old dating game was Jim Lang. Jim Lang was the host in the 60s, mid to late 60s through the 70s. So my buddy, Hugh Grew, talked me into it. Al, why don't you do it? So I did it. And they knew I was on vacation for 10 days. And I went down for the audition. I'm behind a partition with 3 guys. They got a girl asking questions. Next morning, I get a phone call. They say, Al, we'd love to have you on the show. Would you be interested before you go home? I said, yeah, I'm down with that. I go back. The girl picks me. I go to London, England with a nut job. 8 days.
What was the date like? Where did you guys go, and what was it like? Wow.
No, we go to London, England. It's September. The show's taped in September. She picks me. 7-8 days on a trip is crazy. Back in the day, in the old dating game, it used to be 3 days. You go to Acapulco, maybe Bahamas, somewhere. 3 days. This was 8 days.
8 days you got to deal with her, and you guys aren't getting along.
Well, this was September. We taped the show. We're not going to go till April, and I have a chaperone and her, and the trip was set up where I was going with another couple and their chaperone. But this girl was cool when I met her, and I told her I was going to move back to Southern California. I was going home for a second, come back. We should get together and just get to know each other. We're going on a trip, right? 8 days to London, England in April of '87. This girl, this was sad. I mean, from the time we taped the show, from the time we left to go to London, the girl was a total mess. I hate to use the word junkie, but she turned into a junkie, an alcoholic, and it was a nightmare. And if your audience wants to go on YouTube,
I could play it.
You can play it. I tell the story. It is nuts what this girl did. It's totally insane what I had to deal with her. My chaperone had to deal with her. It's on YouTube.
I got it right here.
How do I title it so your audience knows it? No, that's the love. No. That's the Love Connection.
No, I thought that's the one it was.
No. This is the dating game. This is a totally different game show. The dating game is when the dating game. I say my dating game nightmare. See if the dating game nightmare. Al Sugar Bear, my dating game nightmare.
What about the Love Connection? What was that all?
Well,
was that after?
That's a whole different thing. Yeah, I was dared to go on that. A next door neighbor, but I called his bluff because I wanted him to go on there, and that's a whole nother thing. That's a show where you go there and they hook you up, and I was one of the pickers where you get to choose the girl.
I don't see it. I don't see the dating game nightmare.
Yeah, hold on. Can I do it? Hold on.
No, it won't let you.
No, I can't.
No, it won't. It won't let you do it.
No. I mean, I'll get the title. Hold on.
Yeah, if you give me the title.
Hold on.
Here's your bizarre appearance on a dating game.
No, that's the Love Connection.
No, it says Sugar Bear Barbieri shares his bizarre story about his appearance on the 1987 dating game.
There you go. You got it. There it is.
All right.
That's it.
All right, let's play this one.
If you want to play that?
Yeah, we'll play it.
Go ahead, let it roll.
As promised, I'm going to share the story. Sit back. It's a doozy. All right. It's September 1986, and I'm on a phone call. I'm in South Philly. I'm talking to a buddy of mine living in Hollywood Hills. He invites me out to Southern California. So it's 6:00 p.m. I'm on this phone call. I take him up on his offer. I'd never been to Southern Cal. I get on a red eye, 11:30 at night. That's the way I roll. I go. So I go. And my friend lived very close to the Mann Chinese Theater, the very popular okay, and famous theater on Hollywood Boulevard, where all the famous fingerprints and footprints in the cement. What goes on there is there's people from the shows, the game shows and the sitcoms and everything and the soap operas, and they need to get people to come and sit in the audience. Well, one guy comes up to me and wants to offer me a chance to be a bachelor on the all-new dating game. Well, my friend Yu talks me into doing it, so I go. And hold on a second. Something happened with my phone. So I go, and the audition is a mock game. I'm behind a petition with 3 guys. I'm one of the 3 bachelors, and the girls asking questions, and I do that. And they knew I was there on vacation for 10 days or whatever. And the next morning, I get a phone call, and it's the dating game. And they tell me, the producers love me, and they love would I be interested in coming in and taping a live show before I go? And I said, yeah, I'm down with that. So I do it. And the girl that picks me, her name's Lois. And we keep in mind what the show aired in December. Taped it in September, but it aired in December. And all the guys back home thought Lois was cool, nice looking, right? And she was cute. So after we tape the show, we go to the producer's office, and we have to sign papers. And the producer tells us we're going to London in April, just for the fact of better weather in April in London. So that's cool, because I got to get ready. I got to get my passport, and I got to get all settled in with that stuff. And Lois drives me home to the apartment, and I tell her that I have intentions of moving back to Southern Cal, which I was. I already made my mind up, because my friend and his roommate offered me another bedroom in the place. And I said to her, when I get back before the holidays, let's get in touch and let's get to know each other. And she was interested and cool with that, So I come back to LA in Hollywood in November, and I call her. And the first call was not a good phone call. She brushed me off. She rushed me off the phone call. The second and third phone call, same thing, added in with drama. Just life's drama real quick. And I got the sense this girl's a mess. It got to the point after the 4th call, I just didn't call her no more. I didn't give a fuck. Sometime in March, a few weeks before the trip, she calls me up. She says, Albert, I know you're so interested in going on the trip, but would you be interested if I bought you out of the trip?
What?
Maybe you need some cash. I'm like, get the fuck out of it. Did I hear right? I said, why, Lois? What are you saying? You want to? Yeah, she says, I'll give you $400 to buy you out. I said, you got to be out of your fucking mind, I tell her. I said, I got my passport. I'm excited to go. It's my first time in the country. And and I got a W-2 for the trip, $4,800 worth of trip. I had to file my income tax, right? I said, Lois, I can give a fuck you go or not. I hung up on her. 2 days later, she has the nerve to call me back. Albert, it's Lois. Yeah, Lois. What now? She goes, well, listen, since you're so excited to go, why don't you buy me out? Buy you out? I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe it's worth buying this fucking kook out. Well, what do you want, 400? No, I want 1,200. What? 12? Get the fuck out of here. 1,200, you'll get nothing. Go fuck yourself, I said. Just like that. I don't care you go or not. Hung up on her again. Hung up on her.
Yeah, but
now I know.
Let me ask you a question, though.
I know.
Let me ask you a question quick. So if you buy them out, what happens? You don't go on no date with the chick, right?
No, let it play. I explain.
All right.
Probably got a boyfriend in between this time. Obviously, she can't go on the trip. And, she wants money. But I ain't giving her no money. Because I know the rules. She don't go. I get to pick whoever I want, as long as it's a female and it's not a family member. So I got to play it cool. I call the dating game, and let's call the girl I was talking to, Patty. We'll call her Patty. I said, Patty, I was just talking to Lois. I said, I'm not so sure she's into going on this trip. And they were like, well, that's not what we heard. And I persuade them, and I fill them in. I don't talk about the money that you want to buy me out and everything. So I asked Patty, is it possible if she doesn't give me enough time to pick somebody, can we arrange to where, because we're leaving from LA 6:30 in the morning, going to LaGuardia, and lay over in LaGuardia to London, England. And I know there's plenty of time if I can arrange, have a girlfriend ready in New York because there's plenty of time from 6:30 in the morning for her to go from Philly to New York, as you all know, to be ready to get on a plane. Dating game was nice enough to accommodate me on this. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. I know what you girls are thinking. Some of you guys, you want to know the name of the girl who I offered this trip to in South Philly. Oh, we ain't going down that road. Because if I tell you who, and she's spoken for today, and it's going to be like a shot heard around the world, rumors are going to be flying. You girls are going to be going, oh, that fucking slut, that who she with back then? How did Sugar end up? What's going? No. I go to my grave with this one. Don't ask me. Don't ask me on Facebook. And whoever has my phone number, don't call me on a private phone call and ask me. You ain't going to get it. Okay? So now that's arranged. We're at the airport, 6:30 in the morning. My chaperone knows the deal. So it's me and my chaperone, the other couple, their chaperone. And I'm ready to make the call. And she go, hold on now, just give it a few minutes. And here comes Lois running down the fucking terminal like O.J. Simpson in a fucking Hertz commercial. Here I am. Oh, God. Guys, listen to me. We all know what people look like when they're strung out on drugs, doing drugs. It's a shame. I even hate the word junkie, but this girl looked like a junkie. She's 90 pounds soaking wet. She's got fur boots up to her knees, a mini skirt, fur coat, half a fur coat, like it's 1965 in a film, like from 65, like her complexion white as paint. She looks sickling. She tells us her wisdom tooth are coming in. She's in pain. She tells us her cat died the other day. This girl shouldn't even be on the trip. She's making life miserable for all of us and me. She gets on the plane. She's looking for a sleeping pill. No, she's got a sleeping pill. She's looking for alcohol to take with a sleeping pill. It's 6:37 in the morning. She's supposed to take alcohol, sleeping pill. She goofy. We don't hear a peep from her. From L.A. to LaGuardia. We get to LaGuardia, we got a 2.5 hour layover. She's in the ladies' room for 2 hours. She don't come out. But when she does, she's flying. She's on meth or something. She's speeding. Yakety all over there. We get on a plane. We got a beautiful double-decker plane. The pilot announces, unbuckle your seatbelts. You can roam the cabin. She's all around talking to everybody, embarrassing. We just want to stay away from her. We get to London, England. The plan is we just got everybody got their room. The next morning, we're all going to meet, have breakfast, and we're going to start our day, do our tours, and enjoy the trip. Well, first morning, Lois is not there to meet us for breakfast. But as we're getting ready to go out, Lois coming in from the night before, partying, gallivanting all over, telling us she got this fresh, she met this guy. She's out of her fucking mind. She's telling my chaperone she wants money, this and that. My chaperone goes, Lois, you can't get anything. You got to be with the group to get all the fringe benefits and all the, you want per diem and all that. You got to be with us. She gives my chaperone a hard time 2 days in a row. Brings my chaperone to tears. Poor chaperone, 2 young girls, great girls. My chaperone goes to the phone, calls the dating game, tells the dating game how she's acting. Dating game tells my chaperone, give Lois back her plane ticket, and she's done with the room. She's on her own. Because you signed your life away. We signed our life away for conduct reasons. Lois went off when chaperone gave her ticket. He said, too bad. Now I'm on the trip now with my chaperone. The other couple, the girl, she picked the guy. The guy was a businessman. He couldn't go on the trip. So she picked an old boyfriend. He flies the coop. They get an argument. Now it's just the 4 of us. Me, my chaperone, the other girl, the other chaperone. We enjoyed the rest of the trip. Great trip. I go back to Southern California because I came home in 89. I go back to Southern California in 93. I run into the guys that were in the game show industry that worked there. We're talking old times and they know about the story and everything, my nightmare with her. And I mentioned, whatever happened to Lois? You know what they tell me? Al, Lois never came back from London. She's still there. She sent us postcards. What? Fucking Lois, this crackpot stays in London. She never went home. All right? What? This is how I run. This is how unlucky I run. I got to meet a crackpot on the dating game. Anyway, that's the story. That's the story. That's what I'm sticking to. It was unbelievable. Crazy. All right, gang. There it is. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day. And God bless America.
That is funny, man.
Is that nuts?
She stayed in London?
Well, up until 90, it was not. I ran into the guys, a couple of guys who worked on the Love Connection, and they already knew me from the dating game, and that's what they said.
Wow.
And the Love Connection, I get no luck either. I mean, when my buddy next door to me, who was living next door to me in Hollywood in '87, he dares me go on the Love Connection. He wants to dare me. Now I already know I go to the audition, I'm going to get picked, but I want him to go. So I said, if I go, you got to go. So he comes with me. But the Love Connection's a little different. Everybody gets interviewed for about 15, 20 minutes. Right? And they videotape your interview. So it's all about dating, women, what you like, what you don't like in girls and everything. So I get a call. Al, Love Connection. Yeah, we decided we want you to be a picker. Now, there's a picker and a picky. The picker gets to sit right next to Chuck Woolery.
And
If you
pick
ever
three
pick-
girls,
Yeah,
right?
you get your
You
choice.
to
You get
pick
a
out-
choice.
Oh,
If you're
wow.
not, if you got a personality of a marble, you're never going to sit next to Chuck. So
No.
they call me up, Al. We lined you up with 3 girls. Come in and pick your date. So I go, and first they give you paper work on them, and you're reading all their information, right? And I'm like, forget this. Give me the video. I want to see the girls they hooked me up with. They hooked me up with 2 Southern California girls and a girl from Philly. Now, first of all, I don't want to go out with a girl from Philly. I come from Philly. I went out with plenty of them. I'm interested in maybe being attracted to a Southern California girl. Well, the 2 Southern California girls, and I got to be honest with you, now as an adult, it's the one I never picked is the one that I find myself attracted to today. But back then I didn't. But what happened was the 2 Southern California girls I wasn't attracted to. I'm 28 years old, 29 years old. So I decided, okay, I can't go wrong with the Southwest Philly girl. Right? It's a total nightmare. That's on there. You can play that too if you want. If you want to play it now. Go ahead, play it.
I could play it now.
Let me tell your audience, this is the worst. This is the most memorable worst date on Love Connection. It must have reran from 1987 to 92 over 75 times. I couldn't go nowhere in Southern California or Vegas without being recognized. I'll tell you a crazy story after you want to play. Go ahead.
All right. And I'm going to play this. I'll be right back. I just got to go do something real quick.
Well, you got to, all right.
I'll be right back.
I'll tell him.
He's on full on you.
Yeah.
That's a big time show back in the day. Yeah, Chuck, you're really good, Chuck. Hey, listen, this is the number one. Here's one. This was the number one music video.
Yes. What is? What's so heavy? It's a brick,
Yeah, it's a brick.
It's a family.
but it's covered.
My mother first name. Maiden name is Zuzi.
I got it, but he's playing it. That's why.
Harry says that the 3 keys to a good date are act nice, be witty, and dress sexy. Then Pat, she's originally from Philadelphia as well, and she loves strong picnics.
Was he watching?
We recorded yesterday. We're going to get to that
Yes.
later on. Right now, Al's going to tell us what you choose. I picked Patricia.
Is that the girl from Philly, the one on the bottom?
Yeah, that's hers. Yeah. Southwest Philly. I mean, West Philly. I'm sorry, West Philly.
And you didn't know her before the show, right? You didn't know her.
Of course not. Total stranger.
All right. Tell me about the date.
All right, I called her up. And right from the beginning, her tone of her voice wasn't a pleasant one. Why? The reason I don't know. But I choose Patricia mainly because she was from Philly. I figure since she's from Philadelphia, we we'd have something in common.
She won't call you abusive
Right.
anyway. Yeah.
So that's half the battle. So we're talking for about 10, 15
Bruno,
minutes.
what's up, man?
She asked me to describe myself. So I go ahead and describe myself. I told her, before I did, I said, you're from Philadelphia. Whereabouts? She said, what Philadelphia? I'm from South Philadelphia.
Is that a big difference?
Yeah, a real big difference.
Oh, really?
Really. Right off the bat, she said, oh boy, I know I don't get along with South Philly guys. I told her, I'm a typical South Philly guy with dark hair, dark complected. She goes, I don't even get along with dark hair guys.
I prefer blondes, Chuck. I really do. And he told me he's 5'6". I said, oh no, he's short. I am 5'3", but I prefer a man who's 5'8".
Chuck, I was the
You could wear heels and get away with that. Really?
I could have been tall shit. I could have been Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis. So,
Okay. He said I had to thank him for picking me.
She opened up a can of worms there. Billy, Staxx,
Yeah.
freeze it a minute.
Yeah, you could have not picked her, and she could have kept her ass home, right?
Well, that's where she puts her foot in her mouth.
Yes.
Okay, she starts to tell Chuck, and if you take notice, Chuck's going to have my back, and Chuck realizes that she's a tough one. The crowd's on my side. When she says that, you picked up on it. I didn't have to pick her. She could have been still home waiting for a date. She starts talking about her preference. I like guys taller, which okay, everybody has a preference. She likes blondes.
Yeah.
Well, if you had a personality when you did your audition, maybe you would have been next to Chuck, and you would have had a choice of 3 men. Dingbat. So when she says that, now it's all out war, and now I'm going to give it to her, and now she's going to go home crying. Play the video.
She arranged to go to a nice restaurant.
Turn it up. Tell me to turn it up.
I can't turn it up. That's as loud as it goes.
Yeah, I can't.
I pick her up.
The guy upstairs?
Yeah, God, he's looking over.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's watching over.
God's watching over us.
I almost get bit by a dog. You get bit by? Yeah, but they're still trying to tell me don't do this, Al.
So God is speaking through
Don't do this, Al. I understand you're watching out for me, but I gotta do this. I go pick her up.
He can use anything.
He's all right. He's been all right with me over the years. So we go to the restaurant, okay? And she picked a nice restaurant. I'll give her that. Nice view on the 23rd floor. Lovely, nice place. We're eating dinner. Food was good. Okay. We end the conversation. We get done dinner. We're going down the elevators to the parking lot. Right. We're going to the nightclub.
Yes.
She's holding a conversation with 2 guys and a girl. One of them were dating and the other one was a friend.
I see.
We're in the parking lot. We're sure to make plans to go to this other club. This fella, who's with the girl and the guy, is persuading her to go to this other club where I don't want to go to because this is a place you don't take a date.
I see.
Too many nice looking girls.
How do you know that?
Because I've been there at that place on Sunset Boulevard. It's got the Valley Park. I don't want to mention the name, but it's a nice club. You
Well,
don't
why
take
didn't you pick the
because
place?
you were like, oh yeah, we'll meet you there. And it's like I just want to get this over with. Like I'm looking at my
Oh, so you go to this club?
Yeah, because I'm trying to make this work, even at the end.
You thought he was okay.
Yeah, that's what I told you. I tell the truth even when I lie.
That was the Tony Montana line.
Hey, you sure need him damn, Chuck. Oh, I get much better than you. Oh, yeah.
I got people who watch this on TV can relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
Now freeze it again, Staxx. Freeze it again.
Yeah.
Now, all through this, watch how Chuck still has my back and picks up on something. Watch.
All right.
Back to the club where we were because it's just warm. I ain't up.
Oh, I thought you didn't like that club. You didn't like that club.
No, what he said was it's a club you don't take a date.
Correct.
There were plenty of couples there, Chuck.
Yeah, was plenty of nice-looking girls, too. So one was looking at me, I was actually hooking up with this line. I go back, sweetheart, I wake up in Beverly Hills Mansion with a bubble bath and the champagne breakfast. Have all
Cindy.
Who's the one you wanted to pick? The middle one?
Yeah. Well, now as an adult, I
Yeah,
realize
yeah.
I made a mistake. As an older adult, I mean. They boo her. Listen to the boo. They boo her off.
That's funny, man.
Now, here's a
That's
little
hilarious.
here's a little backstory to that. That was 87. It's 87 that was, so it's 2001. So it's 14 years later. I used to do my walk down Manhattan Beach Strand. And I'm walking, and every once in a while you see in the sand off the Strand, there'd be a tent. A lot of times there'd be auditions held or whatever, something. And I have my Walkman on, I'm doing my walk, and I got to go take a leak. And I want to go to the porta potty, and they had him at the bottom of this tent. And I walk in, and as I turn to go into this bathroom part, and I got my head down, and I'm a short guy, and I bump into a guy, and I look up. My right-handed guy, and I look up. I go, Chuck. He goes, how you doing, Al? It was Chuck Woolery. He was over there. They were doing auditions for one of his new game shows. He was going to be the host. It might have been Scrabble or whatever, one of those shit. I look up. Chuck, he goes, how you doing, Al? I said, Chuck, you remember me? He goes, Al, how can I forget you? 14 years later. 14 years later. 14 years later.
Is he still alive?
Chuck is alive and well. Still looking good. Still looking good. Yeah. I had another, it was funny. Like I said, I couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. It was so nuts. It reran and reran. I had a kid in Caesar's Palace in Vegas, young kid from a frat house, comes up to me. Hey, you're Al, right? You're Al from the Love Connection. I'm like, yeah. He says, can I take a picture with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. Take a picture with me. We take a picture. He goes, Al, you don't believe it. We got the tape. We watch it every Friday night. The boys in the frat house. She deserved it. She deserved everything you gave her. He goes, Al, can you do me a favor? And I'm like, what's that? He goes, I'm going to go get this developed. Can you meet back here tomorrow? I was in the sports book. Can you meet me back here tomorrow? I'm going to get it blown up 8x10. Can you autograph it to the guys in this frat house? They can believe I met you. I said, all right, if you want. He got it blown up. The picture, I had to sign it to the guys in the frat house.
That's awesome.
It was nuts. It was nuts. So I go out with Cindy. It was a love connection. But I really didn't want to do it. And after the show was over, when I say, okay, I'll go out with her, the producers got me, and I asked him, his name was John, I never forget. I said, John, do I really got to go out with Cindy? And then because I was already on the dating game. I already did that date. I'm like, do I really need this? I mean, really? So he goes, Al, listen, we'd love for you to come back. He goes, we don't hold you to it, but we would love for you to come back. He goes, why don't you think about it over the weekend? It was a Friday night when we taped that show. He goes, I'll call you Monday morning. You let me know. I said, all right. All weekend I'm thinking about this. And I go, you know what? I'll go out with Cindy. And if it's a bad date, I ain't going back to that studio to tape that bad date. What are they going to do? Come lock me up? Send out a warrant? No. Right?
They give you money to go out on the dates,
no,
right?
Yeah, they gave you $75.
That's it?
Yeah, in 1987, yeah, $75.
That was a lot of money back then, right?
I don't know if it was. I spent more money on the bad date than I did the good date. But anyway, so here's the catch. So now John calls me up. early in the morning Monday. So, Al, what did you decide? I said, John, I'll tell you what, I'll go out with Cindy. But I don't tell him my plan if it's a beer. I don't say that. I'll go out with Cindy. I say, though, this to him. I go, John, I said, but I want to wear what I want to wear. And he's like, what do you mean, Al? I said, I just want to be myself and wear what I want to wear. What you didn't see was before that clip you just showed, I was on the end. They used me as a rollover where I was on the end of one of the show the night before, and they showed the three girls. And Chuck says, well, we're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow and see who outpicked. So you got to wear a suit, jacket, tie, slack. I go, John, I want to wear what I want. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I just want to be comfortable. I want to be myself. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, hold on. He puts me on hold. I'm on hold 10 minutes. I know exactly what he's doing. I know he's going to go talk to the executive producer because they got a dress code. Guy comes back after 10 minutes on hold. Al, I talked to Eric. Eric, he says, listen, we're trusting you. Are you going to look nice? I said, I'm going to look beautiful. He says, okay. He goes, okay. All right. You can wear what you want. I showed up on that date, Guess jeans, Reebok sneakers, a nice summer top. You can go on YouTube and you can punch up all those YouTube clips. You will never, ever find a clip with somebody wearing jeans, sneakers, no tie, no jacket, ever.
Yeah, they all have to be dressed to the nines, right?
Yeah, you gotta wear jacket, sport jacket.
You talked them into letting you wear whatever you wanted.
They wanted me on. They wanted me on the show. I had my own terms. And I went, yeah, that's on there too. But it was a love connection. But it was cool. I went to Disneyland with the girl. We had a nice time. She was nice, and but I just never followed up. I wasn't interested in her. But when I look back at that clip, them girls, it's number 2 I should have picked. Number 2.
Hey man, it's the one that got away, right?
Yeah,
Maybe she's watching this right now. We could have another love connection.
You
Come
never
on
know.
down.
Yeah,
Baywatcher, what's up? But you got a ton of stories, man. We'll be on here all night.
I got
stories. I appreciate you.
Well,
have a great time down there in Florida.
I'm in Dunedin, Florida, enjoying my 2 weeks before my knee replacement surgery. I'm going to have 2 knees done. My first one on May 3rd, and then a couple months later, we go and do the other one. So, just chilling out a couple weeks before my surgeries.
You better go play some baseball or something.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, my man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you.
We'll talk again. You're welcome.
Definitely. Buddy. Shout out to the skinny Joey Merlino for the comments. He gave you a shout out today. I mentioned you in the chat, and
Joey,
he read it. So
looking forward to that cheesesteak place.
I know. I'm gonna go down there once he opens up. I'm gonna go down to his to the new cheesesteak spot.
Cheesesteak spot at Broad and Packer.
Yeah, I'll be down there. Definitely, man. Maybe we can meet up down there.
People are looking forward to seeing him flipping steaks.
Yeah.
Behind the grill.
Hell yeah, I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah.
Baywatcher, what's up, man? Bruno, thanks for everyone that watched this show. I appreciate you.
They enjoy. I hope they got some laughs.
Hell yeah, you always got some good stories. Next time we'll do another one of these in the future and have you on, and maybe we'll bring Joey on to chop it up with you.
All right.
If you guys like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad. Start your own podcast. Thanks, man.
Good night, bro.